Welcome back to the Beyond the Coach podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Kelsey Nanini.
And I'm Chris Sweet.
And happy Christmas week. As you're listening to this,
It is not even Thanksgiving for us in real time.
November 19th. So confusing because this is launching in a month, but we're just getting ahead of it. We're getting ahead of schedule. We might record next week. We might not.
Who knows? Baby right now is I feel like I'm betting on sports. Betting on when this child will come into the world. Or is this how people feel like betting on horse races? You're like, which one's gonna finish first? I know nothing. I know nothing about horses, but I will bet based on which one has the coolest name.
It's fun. I think that's the route to go.
That's how I'm doing so good in pick'ems right now is because I pick based off of the vibes.
Kaden got mad about that this week.
About how I did really well.
He's like, why is Chris always at the top of everything? And I'm like, because she's just choosing the best team.
I choose based on vibes, and it's fantastic.
I always tell Kaden, bet on vibes, and he just doesn't agree. He's like,
I won March Madness. I think I've already said this before. I won one of our March Madness brackets simply because I picked based on colors. I chose which color was my favorite, and that made me all the way to the winner, and I won money. And I was like, this is the best strategy. I even won, was it last year or the year before? I won Pick'ems. And my mom was like, what's your secret? And I was like, I literally choose based on vibes and color. I don't look at stats. I don't look at who's injured. Kenneth's over there oh, this person's injured and this person. I'm like, I like green. So let's choose Eagles.
Let's choose Eagles. What happens if two green teams play each other? What if the Eagles and the Jets play each other?
Oh, well, vibes. Eagles vibes are better than Jet vibes.
Fair.
Also, I will go based off of players if they played for Alabama. Then at that point, I'm like, Jalen Hurts. I'm Team Jalen. So it's vibes and people.
Sure.
That's how it goes. It's really nice to be at the level of football of where I like football, but it's not it doesn't affect my mood. It's just more of I'm here for the vibes.
Must be really nice. Football affects my entire life, and I'm so excited for it to be done.
Understood.
But yeah, baby went to its second concert last night.
Sorry for the
Wiz
chewing
Khalifa
noises,
was not there. I know. I'm sorry. Guys.
I'm so sorry to anyone. We're going to clip maybe a portion of it.
37 weeks pregnant is wild. I'm just eating a pancake bowl. I just went on my story and ranted about how I just have no meal plan at all right now. There's no planning out anything. I'm just on a day-to-day basis of whatever feels good. And Chris picks pick'ems off vibes. I pick food off vibes right now. And that's just how it is. It's just how it be. I went through my whole pregnancy being so planned and well. And now I'm like, I could have this baby today. But Wiz
Can I put it on the
did
record?
Not show up.
What?
Yeah. I don't know what happened. And no one said anything about it. And I'm really upset about it.
What the hell? Do you think he got too high?
He probably couldn't. Yeah, he was high off his mind in the back. I don't know what it was. It was really weird. And then at one point in the show, MGK was like, we're going back to 2012. And I looked at Kate and I go, oh shit. He didn't show up.
So was it just him up there? He was just no guest?
He had an opener, Julia Wolf.
Oh yeah, you had said that.
I'm not familiar with her music. They sing a song together and she has a really great voice. But it was one of those things where I feel whenever female openers come on in concerts, I don't know what it is. I can't hear them what they're saying. It's the music is always way too loud. It happened with Willow Smith, the first concert that we went to of MGK's. And I was like, kid, I have no idea what she's saying. Mm-hmm. It was super weird, but she has a really beautiful voice.
Yeah.
But it's hard when an opener comes out and you're unfamiliar with anything they sing. Sometimes you're wowed and you're like, oh, I really like their music. her instruments were far too loud that I was like, baby, cover your ears.
You're like grabbing the earmuffs now, putting it over your stomach.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
don't worry. I wonder
That was a
what
little
babies
tough.
do in the womb when that happens. Are they
I
just like,
know.
woo?
This guy
Like,
actually, when we were leaving the concert, was like, good for you for being here. And he like shows his like 15-year-old daughter. He's like, she came to so many concerts in the womb. So like, she's, and I was like, that's actually really cute. So
that's really cute.
maybe second concert.
Yeah, understood. I was going to say, I would like to put it on the record that my guess of baby coming is the 25th, approximately right after the finale of Dancing with the Stars. So I
Right
just want to have
after.
that. Like, I'm thinking the finale. Oh
Like,
my
I'm
God,
gonna
what if you
watch
give
the
birth
finale.
during?
Yeah,
That
like,
would
am
be
I gonna watch the
crazy.
finale in the hospital?
Can your announcement be, can you do a mirror ball reference where you're like, my mirror ball? Robert got his mirror ball. I got mine.
Is that what? I'm gonna name him. I'm gonna name our child Erwin.
Erwin. Middle name Erwin. Middle name Crikey.
Just depending on who wins, it's either like the pro or the like star that I named the
Yep.
child after.
Or like a blend of both. We go to ChatGPT. We're like, what is, hi, I just had a baby. I'm in a pinch. The nurse needs me to sign the birth certificate and I don't know what I'm naming my child. Please help.
Robney.
Robney.
It's like Rodney. Robney.
Yeah, I would like it on the record. I am going to guess that it would be, I think that Baby will let you watch the finale. I think that's important. I don't think Baby can let you miss out because Baby hasn't let you miss out yet on much. So I'm going to guess right after the finale, but on the 25th, you're giving birth.
I'm fine with that. It's actually like I keep telling. I'm like, hello, baby. You have a very small timeline of days that are allowed to come in the next week. I would selfishly really like to have a glass of red wine on Thanksgiving. I know people are like, just do it. I'm just weird. I'm like, I'd rather be able to say now. For clarification, I did indeed have alcohol while pregnant, but not while I knew I was pregnant.
Correct.
You know, it's before. And so I'd rather go my whole pregnancy without having alcohol. I know some people are like, whatever, it's just a small. It's just a thing for me, you know? I don't need it. But on Thanksgiving, a glass of red wine.
I think here's my thing. I think it would feel like a reward. Like having a glass of red wine while pregnant wouldn't feel like a reward to me. It would feel like I'm not supposed to be doing this. So I'm just not.
It would be
like,
really
why am
sneaky,
I doing
yeah.
this?
It would feel wrong. I would feel wrong.
Whereas if I'm having a glass of wine after having birth, that is a reward. That is like,
and you're just like,
made it.
Baby's napping in your arm and you're just holding a glass in the other arm. Like an absolute vibe. So I keep telling the baby, I'm like, here's the thing. I want to play volleyball tonight, so you can't go into labor tonight. You could come tomorrow. I'm fine with the 20th. That's fine. Ideally, the 25th, because I want to get through my check-ins on the 24th.
Again, Baby hasn't let you miss out. So I'm like really thinking if we just put this out there like we have, then we'll just keep on rocking and rolling.
I just really can't have it be on Saturday. Like the Ducks are game day. It's a big game. Justin Herbert's a guest picker, we think. There's just a lot rolling on that side. And I just really don't want, we do have a Fire Stick we're gonna bring to the hospital. So like I could, but like my luck is like it's gonna be fourth quarter with 2 minutes left and like I'm gonna be pushing and then the baby's gonna come out and I don't know who wins the game.
Just
As
laughing.
I said,
football really controls your life. It's like you're birthing a child and you're like concerned about the Ducks.
I am. I'll name if that happens, I will name the baby off of whoever scores the winning touchdown.
Wow, we've got
as
a lot
long
of
as
names.
they're on the Ducks.
Little do all these like celebrities and players know that their names are at high stake right now to potentially be a part of your baby's name.
I do hope it's not the quarterback because his name's Dante or the like wide receiver's name is like Decorian.
We would need to adjust. Maybe we'll go for initials at that point.
I'd go Dan, the head coach. That's safe.
There you go. Speaking though of Dancing with the Stars, we have to debrief real fast because semifinals was yesterday and Kelsey did have to go to this concert. So I couldn't text her in real time. So then you started watching it at like approximately 7:30 this morning.
7:30 a.m. Yeah. Mm-hmm. As I did some work on the couch.
Yes. So Whitney's
I
gone.
yeah, Chris did voicemail me this morning. He was like, I need you to watch Dancing with the Stars. And I was like, this is either like really good for us. So initially, after Alex's first dance, I was like, she needs me to watch because Alex is getting voted off. And like, I don't want that to happen. I do actually very much enjoy Alex Earl. And I was like, oh my God, that's why she texted. That's why she voicemailed me. But then I realized everyone's first round dance was really bad besides Robert's.
Dude, the dances,
The
not
second
it.
round was substantially better.
Yeah.
Zac Efron.
Yeah.
We were talking about him at dinner on Monday and with some friends of ours, and my husband and the two friends agreed that he looks weird now. And I was like, I haven't seen him recently. Well, you got all that work done. And I was like,
To be fair, he needed part of that work because of his broken
It
jaw or
was-
whatever.
Yeah, in that movie. Remember he gained a
Mhm.
ton of weight for that one wrestling movie.
Yeah. And then he like got injured and had to fix his face.
Yeah.
He's
he
looking
look-
great.
He's like rugged now, and I'm like, I don't care if your jawline's gone. Beautiful man.
Beautiful man.
The
He
gene
really
pool.
blessed he blessed our screens.
Then going back and forth between Dylan and Zach, I was like, is this a dream? Like, am I okay?
Truly.
It was incredible. So,
My
I
hot
am
take
pumped.
is that I respect Prince as an artist and his success. I
Yes.
said this to Kenneth last night. I said, listen, I have nowhere to talk because Prince is more successful than I ever will be. You know, rest in peace. But like he's accomplished more in his life than I certainly will. So like, who am I to sit and judge? However, I don't think semifinals should be themed to a specific
No.
artist because the musicality did not hit for me yesterday. Like
it was weird.
I was bored watching and I was like, I don't want to be bored watching. Like it's the semifinals. I want to go in
Yeah.
and be like excited. Like the way Halloween gets me so amped
Yes.
for those dances. Like it just
I
felt
feel like it
like there
shouldn't
was
have
just,
been themed at all. I feel like it should
No.
have just been
yeah, exactly.
dance.
I agree. So it was kind of a bummer from a sense of like, it wasn't an exciting episode other than Whitney getting off. Like it was a very like intense elimination because you just genuinely had, for the first time, you're like, I don't know who it could be. Like it could
Yeah,
have been, my guesses were Elaine or Dylan. No, Kenneth guessed Elaine, and then because he guessed Elaine, I guessed Dylan. And then Elaine was the first one to be saved. And then I was like, oh shit, then it is Dylan.
Shoot,
And then when it
there's-
was just Dylan
I thought it
or
was for
Jordan
sure.
and Whitney up there, I was like, fuck. I was like, I love Jordan and Ezra. And I was so happy for Ezra because obviously he was like the first to go last season. So the fact that he's made it to the finale, I'm like, that's so
The
wholesome.
first to go in his first season.
Yeah, I was like, that was really sad.
See ya.
But I'm like just so happy for the people who did make it. Whitney is a great dancer, but I think it just goes to show that the votes from the audience really do matter. And she
People were
made
saying
it
too
so far.
that it's messed up that on Dancing with the Stars she said she only did season 3 of Mormon Wives because so she'd be on Dancing with the Stars, and people were like, so you just used the show, like no one likes you on there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then also she dropped the F-bomb on a Disney show.
Yep.
And I saw people say that it's a breach of her contract, which is actually why she got voted off. So like votes didn't matter at that point. They were like, see, again, it's a speculation. I was also like, you're the one Mormon on the show and you just dropped the F-bomb.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah.
I was like, okay. I mean, I was like, I'm kind of here for it. But and then like all the faces of the people. Did you see the TikTok?
Which TikTok?
Alan's face. Alan goes,
Oh, yes. Yes, I did. I did. Yep. Yeah, no. I'm just happy she's gone because now all my favorites, like now I feel like everyone got what they wanted to make it to the finale. Like at this
yes,
point the mirror
all
ball
my
is
favorites.
either going to Alex or Robert. If it didn't go to one of them, I genuinely would be shocked. And I think
I agree.
Elaine, Jordan, and Dylan know that they're not going to win. Like I think you just make it to the finale and you just know. So
Yeah.
for me, I've already won because my top
my
people
top
from
two.
the beginning
Yep.
have made it. And now I
Yeah.
get to have such an enjoyable experience of watching TV on Tuesday.
What a Thanksgiving week. Like, I'm really excited.
Yeah. I will say I'm having a hard time with who I personally will vote for because like I do feel that I want to vote for one person. Like I feel pretty strongly on being like I want to vote for one because I want, but what sucks being in our time zones is I can't
Yeah.
watch all the dances.
What if
So
one of them, my favorites, has the best dance of their life and the other rolls their ankle and sprains it, and then I vote for that person?
exactly. So I don't know. Maybe I won't actually stick to that. Maybe I'll just vote for everyone.
I also think that Alex will do better in freestyle than Robert will.
That's what I was gonna say though. Freestyles, I can't wait for freestyles. Like they are
I
just
think
my
Dylan's
favorite
not going to be able to
dances.
keep up with Daniela. I mean, Daniela is going to.
She is the Ferrari.
She's insane.
Insane. So I can't
uh,
wait to see her choreography though, because she definitely is the best choreographer and dance pro out of
Did you see
everyone.
the video of her daughter doing the
Yes, the little
swings?
kicks.
So cute.
So cute. Yeah. But anyways, that's our recap. Hopefully we make it to a podcast next week so that we can discuss the finale.
Oh
We
my
have
gosh,
to at
it's
that
true.
point. I don't care if I have to go visit you in the hospital. I'm going to be like, all right,
I'm like,
mic'd up,
my mic and my
baby screaming in the background. We're going to be like, so the finale. I don't care what we need to do. We just
I
have
feel like
to
we've made
we
it
have
this
to
far.
talk
We're
about the
talking
finale.
about and like, who cares if you're watching this a month later? Y'all know who won.
Exactly. So
It
we
doesn't
do need
matter.
to we will need to recap our finale thoughts hopefully next
We
week.
will.
If not, we'll figure it out. But anywho,
Back to
speaking
business.
of the fact that you're going to be watching this a month from now, it's crazy how time is flying. And it's, I can't even believe that next week is Thanksgiving. I texted my mom today. I was like, see you in a week. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to see my mom in a week.
Yay.
Like, that's
Aw.
crazy.
I'm excited for
Poppy
you.
is very committed to wanting to meet you. And I keep telling her,
Can't
I'm
wait.
like, she's like, did Kelsey have her baby yet? I'm like, no, not yet. I will tell you when she has had the baby. Like, trust me, I'm checking every morning on her location every morning. So I can't wait for the day that the text is that. I'm going to make a funny TikTok off of it or something. I'm going to be like, when your business partner is about to give birth and you have anxiety every day. And then it happens in the grand finale.
We have an order of operation. It's like, no offense if any of our family is listening to this, but like our business partner, like Kaden's assistant Aaron and Chris, they'll have to know first.
Yeah.
So that
Literally.
she can alert
We have to
clients. And also, both of our parents, it's not like they're going to be here. Well, Kaden's parents, I guess, could be here if it happens over Thanksgiving break. But
Yeah.
you all can't do anything in Washington and Oregon for us. Like, you'll find out when you find out.
I got to go tell Otson and Burrow that a baby's been born.
We actually have to have Chris know first because she has to come over and watch our dogs.
Yes. I can't wait. I can't wait to actually send you guys video when this is such a side tangent. I promise, guys, we're gonna get to the topic, but this is fun. When Hannah and Jake had Sutton, I was watching Bentley, and my favorite thing was sending them like videos of Bentley the whole time and being like, Bentley's doing this with me, and like I was like vlogging my days with Bentley for them.
That's exactly
so
what we want.
I can't wait to entertain you guys with the chronicles of what me, Otson, and Burr are going to get up to. So just like you wait.
That's exactly what we want.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But anywho, my mom is coming into town, which is exciting, but does prove to me how quickly time is flying. Cause I'm like, how has it already been? It's like, how has it already been over a month since we moved here? But also like, how has it only been just over a month? Like time feels weird. So I can't wait to see my mom, but it does remind me that like the end of the year is coming. And by the time that this is launching, the new year will be right around the corner in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And you're probably all having these discussions or posting about it on social media of like setting your goals and all your clients setting their goals. And you're probably having that discussion on your sales calls and everything. But I don't think that maybe you have sat down with yourself to set goals for your business. Personally, I can't wait. Like Kelsey and I, at the time of obviously this podcast, have not had our end of year like planning call yet. I can't wait to plan out 2026. Like I'm really excited for now that we have the first year of Merge under our belt. I'm like, wow, we have like everything, 92% of our shit together. Like it's great. I'm
and
like,
we did follow our 2025 plan pretty well for not having
a
full
lot
year business
planned
partnering
in there before we also. I'm like,
we did.
we both had we followed it, and then both of our lives were just like complete
Yes.
chaos. So the fact that we
Correct.
followed it with chaos, and
The
hopefully
fact
next
we
year
did
is
all that.
less chaos.
Next year is going to be so well planned. We're not going to have anything come up out of the ordinary
No, not at all. So
at all.
not one.
That couldn't happen to
Um,
us.
no, God, it's an even year. Something about the even years I think are better vibes than the odd years.
Oh, and I also found out it's the ninth year of the cycle of. Wait, no, next year's the ninth year of the cycle of the Chinese calendar. This year's the snake. So, like, we're shedding our skin
Mm,
for something good for next year to end off the cycle of 9 years. That's what one of our friends told us at dinner on Monday. And I'm going to choose to believe that.
I'm
Because
gonna believe
everyone
it.
I know has had, like, weird year this year.
Yeah. Yep,
So,
I agree. Um, but yeah, so now it's coming the time of planning goals, and both I feel like personally, but then also just
yep.
professionally for ourselves. Like you're doing it for everyone else, but like, are we really doing it for ourselves in all the different arenas? Even Kenneth and I sat down last weekend or this past weekend, and we like mapped out all of our basically travel goals up until even 2027 for us to try to like get some of our big trips checked off. And I was like, this is exciting, this is big, and it like makes me motivated because now I have something to look forward to too. Like I think you
Yep.
need to know what you're working towards, and for Kenneth and I, it's nice to personally be like, oh, we're working towards this while paying off debt, while doing all these different things, because those mean something to us. And then the same goes for, business. I can't wait to look ahead and be like, oh, this is what we're working towards, this is what we're trying to do and how we're executing. So um as far as setting goals, I guess I'll kick it off, Kelsey, with asking you like, where have you gone wrong in the past with setting goals that can kick off and set the tone and a better cadence for coaches going into 2026?
I think the biggest mistake I have made in the past, and I know a lot of others make, is just blindly making goals. I'm sure by now, if you're a coach, or someone even just listening to this in general, you've probably heard of SMART goals. And I know it's like a cheesy thing. Like, it's like
I think
a,
that's like
what
the
is
first
the
thing you
word?
learn in NASM CPT is like
Yeah,
what SMART goals.
SMART
Also, I think
goals.
that's the first thing I learned in college, period. I feel like it was
Yeah.
SMART goals.
And like, it is cheesy, but there's a reason for them. And I think the number one mistake you make is not looking at data and just blindly setting goals. So, SMART goals aside, it's like, it's really hard to set a goal when you have no idea what you did the previous year and nothing to base it off of. We were actually having this conversation at dinner on Monday. So the two people we met with, they're partners. They're also business partners. They're real estate agents, and we were talking about how even like Caden was talking about how he's reached his goals essentially in mortgages, and he's like, we need to normalize not having to do better every single year, and it's okay to just maintain and do the same thing you did the previous year. Like, that's still success. And they use this really cool analogy. One of our friends, Brandon, he used this analogy. Or not analogy, but like this example. He's like, you could look at someone, and this is specifically for business owners. Like, he's like, he was like, my goal graduating college was that I wanted to go be a CFO at a big company. I wanted to earn 400K a year. Maybe I get a 5 to 10% increase every other couple years, whatever, like in commit, and maybe I get a bonus at the end of the year that helps financially, but like that steady growth is what I thought was success. Whereas when you're a business owner and you don't have a steady income, your goal is to like excessively increase your income every year. It's like, oh, I want to make an extra 100K. I want to make an extra 50K, whatever it is. And you just want to like so aggressively build. And they were talking about how when they first ramped up their real estate business, it was doubling every year. And he's like, well, at some point we reached a point where it's not impossible to double, but you reach a threshold where like doubling your income quite literally is impossible unless you have 100 people working under you that are also selling it's at least in real estate. And so it was just like something for me that pointed out of like, I've had just so many, every year of business has been so different for me, but I always look at the data of the past year, and being able to see that. And it's like, yeah, I do want to grow every year, but I also want to do it in a way that's sustainable, because I have had the years where I got a business coach. I literally quadrupled my income in the first month of having a business coach, quadrupled it. Made 5 figures in a month after never having done that before. And it it did not last. I burned out very quickly. And so I think the biggest thing is like not only looking at the data, but looking at what your capacity is as well. And we have huge goals in Apex that we had a 5-year plan. And so that's like still looking at that and being like, cool, now that we're in like this groove, next year is a growth year for us. And this year was kind of just like a get our shit together and figure out what even business partnership is. And so something Chris and I are doing going into this is looking at the data of this past year, what worked, what didn't work, what did we change in the business? Is the first quarter probably going to be slower for us potentially just because we're adjusting to a new way of marketing and a new audience in a sense that we're going all in on. Not really new, but just kind of backing away from what our prior audience was. I know that was all over the place, but the biggest thing is data. You have to be looking at that and you have to look at changes in your business as well, whether you're pulling back on having a team, whether you're adding people to your team. All those things are going to make a drastic difference in your income and what your capacity is.
Yeah. I would say for me, like it was never looking at the transparency of like my bank accounts and like the months I did do and tracking my KPIs consistently. So to your point of like looking at data, for me, it was like even just the act of data tracking that then would let me even have something to look at. Like the amount of coaches that we talk to sometimes where I'm like, hey, how many clients are on your roster? And they look at the sticky notes on their wall and they're like, oh, 20. And I'm like, do you even know how much they're all paying? Do you know what your MRR is? Do you know what your revenue currently is? Do you know how many clients are up for re-sign in the next 30 days and how that could impact your income and your numbers? And they're like, no. And I'm like, we have to we need to work on that. And so for sure, I mean, obviously we had to learn for ourselves, but I think it all starts with, if you guys haven't been tracking your data, do go track your data, like go backtrack. It might take you a whole week to backtrack a whole year of data, but like don't look at your sheets and your KPIs and be like, oh, well, I'll start in January because like I haven't been tracking already. It's like, how are you going to set goals for 2026 if you have no baseline of even the growth that you've had in 2025? And 100%, it's like there are, and I feel like similar to you, I started my business and I was like skyrocketing to the moon. Like I was racking up the change. I actually had a call today with one of our ACA clients and got to have a really transparent conversation with her based on how she's currently feeling in business. And it was kind of nice. It was kind of nice to open up and be like, hey, like when I was hitting my highest months, like I actually hated my business the most. Like I was having a really hard time with it because I did reach a capacity and all that was being thrown at me was grow, 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 grow. Whereas like the conversation I had with her was very like, where do we want to be right now? Like what is like the bare minimum for you to just survive at this moment? Like what do we need there? Have you thought about that? And just looking at actually the threshold on the bottom, not the threshold on the top. Like we always look for the top thing. And I think this is where you can tie in your personal goals too, is looking at like, do you have travel you want to accomplish? Do you have debt you want to pay off? Do you have a house you want to buy? Do you have a mentor you want to work with? Like whatever it may be, looking at your KPIs and then setting goals, not only just based on those KPIs, but then also looking at what are those personal goals, you know, for those things to be achieved. And that really goes into helping you also, again, have that motivation because it goes beyond just now an income number or a number of clients in your business. And now it goes into, oh, well, when I hit these numbers, I now get to do this. I now get to book that trip that I wanted to book. I now get to buy that house that I wanted to buy. And business is not always exciting. It's not always this like sexy thing. We all know that at this point. But I think what keeps you going is having things beyond just business as your identity. And that even goes into your personal goals.
Yeah, 100%. Something that you mentioned was data tracking, and something I have found with a lot of coaches, like you said, they aren't tracking data. And I'm going to say something that not a lot of people are going to like because it needs to be said.
She's getting spicy. Crikey.
I don't care no more. Crikey. You are not a business owner if you aren't tracking data. Hear me out. You own a business, but you aren't a business owner. You aren't stepping into the role of being a CEO and being a successful entrepreneur that is going to succeed long term. There's so many people that I feel like are like, I don't want to track KPIs. I don't know how to. I get overwhelmed. And I'm like, you need to figure out how to do it or your business is not going to last past that 5-year mark. There's some stat
There is a stat. I was actually about to go look it up because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Most business owners don't last past 5 years or something, or like they aren't profitable until after 5. It's something like that. So while Chris is
It's
looking that up.
approximately 50% of new businesses survive their first 5 years. And then past that, the first year, 80% of businesses survive. First 5 years, approximately 50%. First 10 years is only 30 to 35. And then past 15 years is 25%.
It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And so we can sit here and I know a lot of people are like,
I will
oh,
say
go ahead.
in 20, I'm looking at some different studies. Now I'm like in the studies. I'm like looking
you're
at all
like,
the different
oh.
reports. It does say here, based on businesses that opened in 2018, 20.8% of businesses fail within the first 5 years of businesses that have started in 2018, because we've obviously had plenty of data for that. So I'm curious what it is for like 2020. Sorry, continue.
Especially because so many people at it like started businesses in 2020. Like I bet you there was a huge influx of businesses starting up.
Mm-hmm.
I think we always joke within the fitness community. It's like, oh, you just have a silly little hobby. And it's like, no, I own a business. You can't be the person saying that if you're not tracking KPIs, if you don't know exactly what's going on in your business, because at the end of the day, if you don't know exactly what's going on in your business at all times, you're failing as a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be tracking these things. It's all just data. Something that I love that our mentor Kendall always says is like, no matter what you're doing, whether you had a launch that failed, you had a launch that succeeded, it's just data. And that's simply all it is. It's not a failed launch. It's just data for the next time of like, okay, well, what is going to work well? And so when you're looking at KPIs, like, I look at our goals from this year, and of the goals we set to like of contracted, 4 of the last 10 months were actually in the green of like we hit our goal of contracted money. Same with cash collected. 4 of our last 10 months were in the green. The rest of them weren't hit or were barely hit. I like color it orange if it's like close enough, but it just wasn't
Different
quite
shades
there.
of green. You're
Yeah.
like, the light green is this, dark green is that.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, I think you just have to start taking that and being, one, a little more realistic with your goals. It is not a bad thing, by the way. Chris and I have huge goals for Apex, but that doesn't mean we're going to reach them next. Could we reach them next year? 100%.
Catch us next year.
I think
This
we
time
said by
next year, we'll let you
2027.
know. We'll let you know where we're at.
Yeah. But it takes a lot of effort, and it's one thing I know about owning a business. There's so much fluctuation in terms of how your business is doing. And like, if you really did look at our revenue from this past year, it's literally a scale that you would see your clients step on. And so that's where I think it's so important to look at that. And we look at like, okay, well, launches, we obviously make more in launches and all of that to be said. If you are not looking at data as a person who owns a business, you need to. Do not be afraid of it. If you are afraid of it, I highly suggest you work on your relationship with that, because you are not going to build a business that is going to last very much longer. And it's also not a bad thing, like, to not want to own. Like, everyone wants to be a business owner until they realize how much work it is. It's not just fun, like sunshine and daisies all the time. I mean, it's a sick job, but it's also fucking hard.
Yeah.
So I'm not discouraging anyone from owning a business or trying to scare you, but you need to track data. Period.
Absolutely.
Period.
Yeah. This data, it's sellerscommerce.com blog, which has small business statistics from 2020. And it says here that the survival rate of new businesses is 20% of new businesses fail within the initial 2 years. 45% of startups don't survive past 5 years. 65% of businesses fail within the first 10 years, and 75% of American startups close down within 15 years.
Wow.
And I think a lot of that does come down to systems and setting realistic goals. I also like, my brother's a small business owner, and when he started getting into like running his own business, I always told him, I was like, don't let the money change you. Like, don't let it suddenly like, you operate at an unrealistic level all because you're
Mhm.
making this money, and all because you're making more doesn't mean you go spend more. Like, you've got to be smart in those first 5 years of building a business. Like, and again, to your point, like, things fluctuate. And when coaches come and entrepreneurs come and talk to me and they're like, oh, I want to make a consistent 10K a month. I'm like, well, in that case, you kind of need to actually set the goal to be making like 15, 20K, because then your average at least can come out to that 10K. You're not going to make 10K on the dot every single month unless you're literally selling people by the dime and penny at that point to say, oh, this is how I hit it.
Yep.
If you allow yourself to kind of reach for some goals and have steadiness in that, then the baseline will be where you want it to be. So I think it's understanding what is the average monthly income you want to make. And all because you make more in 1 month doesn't mean you're going to go spend more or pay yourself more. Sometimes it's just saying, hey, I'm actually going to keep this in the reserve because potentially next month could be a 9K month instead of a 12K month, like what I made. And at least I have a few extra thousand to keep me really steady. The other thing too is not looking at your expenses. So it's not just looking at your KPIs, it's also evaluating what are your business expenses and is there some modifications you can make there that help you with your goals as well. So maybe you are overspending on some things that maybe you don't need. Maybe you can crunch some different things. Maybe there's some investments you want to make that you're like, where am I at with maybe paying off some debts or, a business credit card, whatever it may be. And you know that once that's paid off, now your goal can be, oh, I want to hire that mentor. Now I want to do this. There's so many different avenues you can have with your goals that I don't think people look as deep into it beyond just like, first step is like, look at your KPIs. Second step is like, look at your money, look at your spending, look at all of that to even just understand where you need to be going into 2026.
Yeah, I think too, when you're first starting off a business, it is really scary. I mean, I definitely got into debt in the beginning of my businesses that I'm still working on slowly chipping away at because I was immediately thrown into running ads and I didn't need to. And my business technically couldn't really afford it at that point, even though I was making so much money on paper.
Dude, I get so mad that I spent money on ads. I didn't have to put
Yeah,
it on a card, but man, would I have had so much more money to personally have if I
I
just didn't do that.
100% agree. For also like no success. Like I know people see some success. I just never did. I had a really horrible experience and um yeah. But like looking at data, I actually enjoy it because it gives me answers. Like when I'm looking at even like we can use last month as an example for us in business. We had our worst month of the year, but we have to look at it as why. We didn't we hit our KPIs in terms of like new clients, all that, but we didn't have anybody pay the full amount. And that is something that we're not used to. Like we usually have at least one of those a month that increases income. So last month we really were just relying on, you know, 4 new clients and uh, uh, um, monthly payments added in and what our MRR was. And so when you're looking at setting goals for the new year, take into account your lowest months because that also did take a hit in our bank account with also having unexpected expenses come up from last month. We had like some like fees fees that we had to pay, just different things that happened that were very out of the norm for us from both November and a little bit of December. And so you have to have, it's just like in life, having that emergency fund and knowing that things are not always going to balance out every month the same. Our margins have been amazing this entire year up until like last month and probably this month a little bit with unexpected stuff happening. And so I think it's too when you're planning for that, like to your point, it's not just planning for the income you want to make, it's planning for the profit that you want to have
Yeah.
as well. So planning for all that because especially with expenses too. I was going to say on the flip side of your expenses, I was thinking about this. When you're a business owner and you're like, oh, I don't think I can afford that. But you actually aren't in your business to know if you can afford it or not. It's like you do need to really know, like, sometimes you actually can't afford it and it could actually help your business boost. So it's knowing both
Like,
sides of that.
yeah, it's like, can you not afford it or are you just afraid to invest in it? And for
Mm,
me, I grew up from a family that like my parents just like were divorced. My mom was not making a lot of money. My mom's a teacher. My family went through a lot of financial stuff when I was growing up through that divorce. And I never was given like a good example of like spending. Like I had a parent who just spent away and, would buy expensive things and then return it because we couldn't afford it. And it was the only example I had. So I think when you are an entrepreneur, and I know I've talked to like a few of my clients about this, where they do have scarcity around money, or they have a lot of like buyer's remorse when they do invest in something. I know I experienced that with any big investment I make. A lot of times I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. Like now I'm freaking out. Now I can't afford it. How am I going to pay my bills? But meanwhile, it's like, no, we're fine. Like we're okay. But it's like challenging that only came from me actually understanding like what can I afford, what can I spend, and actually looking at money more frequently. And so maybe that's a part of your goals going into 2026 is just setting the intention to operate more as a business owner, like a smart business owner, and saying, okay, I am going to look at my budgets. I am going to have a budgeting sheet. Like Kenneth and I have a budgeting sheet that at the end of every month, on the last day of the month, we look at it together and we look at where our accounts are at and we make sure that like our goals are still, or if something needs to be shifted, we shift it on a monthly basis. I think that's the other thing is there's this rigidity in being like, oh, well, it has to look this way for a whole year and this is our monthly plan and da da da. It's like sometimes you have to shift that and it's okay. And like for me, it's having the accountability of those end of month meetings for Kenneth and I to sit down and look at things to even know like, do we need to change the plan? And for us, it's like changing our next month's KPIs based on the previous month. Even though maybe we had set something before, we now know we need to adjust it to be realistic and not set the bar too low. So for you guys, I think a great goal is operating more like a business owner and taking your business more seriously by actually looking at the numbers. Like, could you imagine if your client was like, I want to lose 20 pounds, but like, and I get it, some clients don't want to step on the scale, so maybe it's a bad comparison, but let's say a client wanted to step on or lose 20 pounds, but they were unwilling to take a progress photo, unwilling to step on a scale, unwilling to do a single measurement ever, you would have no data to know, did the client actually lose the 20 pounds? It's the same with your business. How do you know you're making 10K consistent months or not if you're not looking at the data? If you're just as unwilling as that client, that frustrates you because they're not willing to do those things. Like you have to make that comparison. So I know we've talked a lot about like the business, like KPIs and all of that stuff, but it really is sitting down, looking at the data from the year, looking at the capacity for what you have this coming year and being realistic with that. I always say like there's a niceness in setting like a reach goal, but there's also a setting like kind of this, hey, this is my comfortable goal and this is my reach goal. And if I can get to that reach goal, great. But at least I know I've like done this and like achieved this thing. And so for you guys, I think it's sitting down and looking at all of those areas.
What I would say is when you're setting like kind of like more logistically of like how to even start with setting these goals, what I would do is I would start by looking first off, like look at your projects for this year, look at what happened, look at, pick apart all of that. But I would map out the full year of like a plan you have, not in terms of KPIs, not in terms of income goal, not in terms of how many clients you want to add, projects.
Mm-hmm.
So start there. That's kind of what we had done in the beginning last year. It was like, because then you know where to set a monthly goal for clients, a monthly goal for income, and all of that. So when you're looking at that, you can map out like, okay, so in March, for instance, maybe I'm going to run a scholarship. I'm going to run a summer challenge that's going to be a small ticket, or low ticket price. I'm going to have a Black Friday deal. For us, it's like next year we're probably only running 2 cohorts. 2027 we'll probably end up running 3 if we're still even running cohorts at that point. There's, so many things up in the air. But that's what we're looking at is those different launches and different projects that are happening. And you can kind of then reverse engineer everything else. When you know what's going to be launching that year, all the different things that are happening, the months that you aren't launching, and then, is income drastically going to increase that month? I mean, if you get a bunch of one-on-one clients, sure. But, it's at least mapping it out. It's the same thing we do for our clients. It's like, hey, this is the plan that I have for you. The plan is subject to change. It's just an idea of a skeleton of what we want to happen next year. And then from there, kind of setting your goals. We typically set like a big goal for the year of like what we want income to be. But we set smaller quarterly goals at a time because things are going to fluctuate. Things are going to change. Maybe projects are going to adjust, or we're going to add a different project in or take one away or whatever it may be. And so I don't necessarily think that it's totally necessary to map out clients that you want every month for the whole year, new clients signed, or incomes per month to be mapped out for the year, but at least have a general idea of what you want to hit, and then set those smaller 90-day quarterly targets to just make it more digestible on yourself. But I don't know if you have a different way of looking at it. That's just the way my brain goes too.
No, I was thinking of just like really breaking up into bite-sized pieces, and even what we do on a weekly basis now that we've gotten in a more consistent flow with is looking at the weekly goals. So like we have our monthly goal in the first week of the month, we break that down into 4 weeks, and then based on the performance of that week, it adjusts then the following week. If we do really well, then cool. Now the goals for the next 3 weeks are kind of a little bit smaller because we've achieved this. Not to say we don't want to reach past it, of course, but like it's telling us what is like the bare minimum we need to do at that point to achieve it. And so that is something I certainly didn't do right out the gate either. You know, I was setting like big goals and monthly goals, but I wasn't looking at like week by week. And this is where I'm glad you and I have gotten so much more intentional over this year, is breaking it down and looking at data and addressing that together and getting organized with it. And I think that just looking at it week by week and then making those adjustments, and honestly, like something verbiage wise, I've even been working on with some of our staff is saying like, instead of saying like, I hope, or, you know, I'm going to try, it's like just saying you're going to do it. Like, I think as business owners, and I've been even challenging some of my clients to this, is they'll be like, oh, well, like, I hope I'll sign 2 clients. And I'm like, why don't you just go sign 2 clients? And they're like, well, Chris, it's da, da, da. I'm like, but do you see how simple it sounds when we just take away the word try, where it's like, I'm going to try. It's like, oh, I'm going to. It empowers you to say that you're going to do it. And suddenly your eyes are on the prize, and it's no longer this optional thing in your head of I'll try, I'll hope. It's like, no, you're going to make it happen. And I think that's also helped you and I's work ethic, even related to sales, with these huge transitions in, not again, transitions an ideal client, but like really honing in on one is just saying like, hey, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go book a call. I'm going to go have these conversations. And just being a little bit more sharky, as we would call it, of just like sales and being that person.
Yeah. It's not hoping like you could
I can hope I win $1 million. Like, I mean, that's, you know, something we can certainly add the hope to, but like me saying, I hope I sign a client. It's like, dude, you have every ability. Everything is in your control to go sign a client. Even if you say, no, it's not, I've gotten all these objections, da, 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 go keep looking. Oh, you haven't signed a client, go send 20 more DMs. Like, you have the choice to do that. You might not have the control to win $1 million from the lottery, but you do have the choice and the ability to go sign a client. Like, there's all the objections in the world, but you're the only one that can change that.
Yeah, 100%. It's all about the effort you're going to put in. And that's where also when you're goal setting, coming up with a strategy for that as well. And as I've mentioned, it's subject to change, but if you have goals you want to reach, you have to have a plan for it. So like I'll do that in check-ins with clients if they have like, you know, a certain focus or intention for the week. I'm like, cool, that's the goal. How are you going to do it now? It's like if a client's just like, oh, I want to improve my nutrition this week. I'm like, sick. What does that mean? And how are you going to do that? Like when we are just doing, you know, shooting for this blank statement of a goal, it's like you have to know specifics of what that looks like. It's even challenging clients of like when they're like, I don't know what my goal was for this past week. You should always know. You should always know what you're working towards. Write it down. Because if you didn't, I'm like, then what did you do this week? What was the point of that? Yeah. Like, you should never not know. And I think that's big for businesses. And it's not to say that there's going to be weeks where you're like, I literally don't feel like doing anything. I don't want to do jack shit. I just want to sit on my couch and I want to like scream because of this, you know. We've talked about this client before, but she had a huge launch, and I think we're actually gonna do a podcast. She's coming to visit us in January, so I think we're gonna do a podcast with her, and it's gonna be amazing because she is one of those people who she's like, I have big goals. She's left 2 part-time jobs. Well, she worked full-time at a gym, and then she left like some classes behind that she was coaching at to fully pursue her business this year, and it's so well paid off for her. But I remember back in September, she had launched this huge launch that she'd been working on since before April, when she went on her month-long vacation. Finally launched it, had a success, and she's working with you in WWBA. And she's like, okay, so I want to cap my roster like in October. And she's like, but I just had this launch. I'm like tired. And you're like, I don't care. You just said you want to like cap your roster. if you cap it in October, you can chill out for November and December, and you literally can just focus on being a coach. But like you just said, you wanted to cap your roster here. So it's like, I think too, that element of like sharkiness in business is so important, where it's like, I think we all, at this point, there's ebbs and flows in like messaging me here on Instagram. And I think the word burnout happens, it's overused. Like we have done episodes on burnout. It is a real thing. And I think you have to be so careful of walking that line of doing too much and burning out. But if you're a business owner, there is an element of discomfort and like working more than you want to at certain times of your business. It's not always going to be sunshine and daisies. Sometimes it's going to suck. Sometimes you have to say no to other things because you have the business. That's owning a business. Like, yes, there is so much flexibility in owning a business and so much like so many positives. There's also a huge negative in that sometimes you are working when you don't want to. Sometimes you take a vacation and you actually do have to end up doing some work on vacation because you don't fully get time off. Very rarely do you. Can you absolutely take vacations and have full time off? Yes, 100%. But it's not always that way. You're going to sometimes have to do certain things on certain days, on certain times that you don't want to be doing them, but they have to get done. And so like, that's one thing I just always stands out to me is if you have a goal in business, it's all on the effort you put in. Like you can't just be mad that you didn't reach a KPI or didn't reach a goal, whether that's yearly, monthly, weekly, if you weren't willing to put in the effort to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that a lot of people get stuck in also social media and seeing what everyone else is doing. And like, even one of my coaches that I work with, like her roster is also capped. And she was like, she was like, what about Black Friday? Like, I should probably run something for Black Friday. And I was like, you're capped. Like, why would you go run something for Black Friday? She's like, well, everybody else is running their Black Friday. And I'm like, so why do you think you need to? Like, that's the other thing is when you're setting your goals, don't set something just because everybody else is doing it. Like all because all these other coaches are running launches. Guess why they're running launches? Because they have the capacity to take clients and they want clients. If you are capped, you not running a Black Friday sale is not going to injure your business by any means. If anything, you're not running one because you're in a really, really, really steady place in business. And that's amazing. Mm-hmm. So it's reframing that and like not letting the idea of social media like change those actions too much. But exactly is that like there is a push to being an entrepreneur. And when you're setting these goals, like you do have to look at, again, your capacity, but also your willingness. Are you willing to push the capacity, push the envelope than what you've been doing to get something that you have yet to have, but that will have the biggest payoff? For me, last year was like a huge travel year for me. And I really had to pick and choose when I was taking time off. Like for me, I went to Thailand and Bali. I did not take time off when I was out there. Instead, I woke up at 4 a.m. to be on my laptop for 2-3 hours a day minimum while my friend was sleeping before we got on with our day, and made sure that I was diligent. I was like 4 a.m. I'm sitting at my computer. I'm doing this. I'm locked in, headphones on. No one's bothering me. I was like a ninja at work. I was like, I could get 12 hours of work done in 2 hours. It was crazy. But like you do it because you have that drive. And so it's really understanding like, what is worth it? What is your goals? And are your goals in alignment with what your willingness is at the end of the day? Not just what your current capacity is. It's going past that as well. And knowing that it will, again, have that payoff to where now your biggest problem in the world is like, okay, now let me organize my cadences because I am at a full roster. And like, I don't have to worry about launching Black Friday, which is a blessing to not have to worry about doing a launch during the holidays. Like if anything, that's the best flex in the world. Like everyone should be wanting to do what you're doing. You shouldn't be caring about what anyone else is doing. You should be like, cool, I get to chill over here while everyone else is on sales calls and super busy this time of year. So it's all perspective. It's all in how you look at it. It's all in what your goals are. But the whole point of this is that it does start out what your goal is. And you need to understand that in order to even have anything that we just talked about be something that resonates with you, because you need to know the goal first. So it's sitting down with yourself and reviewing the data. Go spend the next week going through your entire year of data and backlogging your stuff if that's what you need to do. And then you'll know exactly what you need to set and go from there.
Yep. Yeah, I think like my biggest piece of advice for anyone setting goals for 2026 is the first is data. Like you can't also sit here and be like, I'm a data-driven coach, but then you're not using data in your business. Data is honestly, like I could geek out about data all the time. I remember we had our wasn't it our masterclass last it was some call where I was like, guys, I literally love talking about finances and business and like breaking it down. And I was like, this has never been me before. Like, I love it. And so when you actually start to kind of like romanticize it, it can actually be something that you can genuinely enjoy. If you're someone who puts it off, go get yourself a coffee. Maybe you're sitting in a coffee shop, or maybe you just go through the coffee drive-through line, bring it home, and you're like laying on the couch. Especially this time of year, you turn on your Christmas tree. Maybe you turn on your fireplace. I don't know. Make it just an enjoyable thing. I'll like put on a show in the background and I'll just grind away at it. Make it something fun, but you have to look at your data. And then also just the element of, like you said, have a reach goal. Like have a big goal that scares the shit out of you. And then also have a realistic goal. And if you land in between that, you succeeded. But don't make it something like pressure on yourself. I think one of the biggest flexes in business, honestly, is being able to simply maintain a business and have a business that's like year after year, month after month, just being consistent. Like I look at like I said, our year was up and down and up and down. We had huge months and then we had, lower months. And like those months honestly suck. Whereas honestly, but at the same point, if we would have had like, if we would have take the average of our income and divide it by the 10 months we've had so far, we probably wouldn't be like as thrilled because we didn't have those big months, which they're exciting. But I think too, there's an element of just being able to sustain a consistent income in business. That's a flex. If you made the same amount every year for 5 years and you were at a place you felt good, that's still a successful business because you're not having to turn off the lights. You're not reaching a low year. You're just maintaining. And that's not a bad thing. Now, it's also not a bad thing to want to just like skyrocket your business and go hard. But know that that also takes an element of like a grind as well. So knowing what you have the capacity for, like we look at next year and us setting our goals, like there is going to be an element of, I know you have some big travel. We have like so much travel next year. I'm like, why did everyone have to get married the same year and no one's in Arizona? We literally have
one.
like
not one,
4 or 5 weddings to go to that are not here, which is super fun. But we also are bringing a child in. And so like, I have to be real. And the nice thing is our business, as it's growing, we can now have other team members we rely on to, have certain tasks that they're taking on, especially as I'm going into maternity leave. And hopefully next year is a lot more of like we're into a good flow and we're getting into a good rhythm. But it is just going to look different, especially in Q1 where we're just navigating this new, we being me, navigating this new life of owning a business and having a kid at home. But it's also exciting. And so taking that into account, and then 2027 potentially going through the same thing with you. And so it's just something we get to just navigate every year. But yeah, I think just really the biggest thing I have for you in goal setting is romanticize it. Make it something really enjoyable, especially if you have to catch up on your KPIs. Like, have it,
guys.
just be
go to a coffee shop. Like, go to a coffee shop.
Treat yourself.
Set a boundary around it too. Like, even I think it was like last week or the week before, you were like, "Hey, can you meet like Thursday at this time?" And I was like, "Kelsey, like I've got to go sit at a coffee shop." I was like, that I think it was the week I was crashing out. I was like, I need to just go sit at a coffee shop. I need to put on headphones. Like nothing puts me in a more zen zone than a coffee shop with no one speaking to me. I'm like, I just get to like be in my zone. I do my deep work really well. I get, again, 6 hours. I'm like on DND to the max during those times. I'm like, don't disrupt me. But it's just being really intentional. I think intentionality behind it's really important when you are ending your year and potentially reflecting. And it's easy to get bogged down. It's easy to look at everything you didn't do, but look at it as, what did I do? What can I use that as data to then bridge the gap for what I didn't accomplish, and like allowing that to be something. Your offer has probably evolved. Your ideal client has probably evolved. You probably have different goals that you didn't have in the beginning of the year. And then I'll just finish with saying too, set the personal goals, set the goals around your health, set the goals around your travel or your life or your personal, so that the intentionality behind you scaling a business goes well beyond your identity as a business owner. It's so easy to just look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I'm a business owner, I'm my business, this is it. But to remove some of that emotion, it's actually having things that are worth living for in your personal life, not just worth living for in your business. And that's really helped my mental health since coming out of the burnout stage that I was in like 2022, 2023, has been more so focusing on me a little bit more and being a little more selfish with that.
Yep. If you guys have any questions on any of this, please let us know. Because we're here to support you. I think we have a couple like our client calls are, ultimately focused on KPIs and goal setting for the new year in December. So we're really excited for that. If you are a part of ACA, if you aren't a part of ACA yet, what is you doing?
What is you doing? 2020. Listen, I'm just saying 2026 is the rocket ship, and I don't want to hear it from any of you that you wish you had joined in 2025. Like the opportunity is there. You get to choose it.
Quite literally, mic drop. So we're excited. I hope you guys enjoy setting New Year's goals. I think they're so exciting. And thank you for listening.
See you in the next one.
See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.